Good morning, students. Today we will see the pinout of 8051 microcontroller. The 8051 comes in a 40-pin DIP arrangement. DIP means the pins are arranged in parallel on two sides. We will see the first pin, VCC. VCC is pin number 40. It is connected to the supply voltage. The voltage is 5 volt. Then the ground pin, it is pin number 20. It is connected to the ground. Then crystal 1 and crystal 2. The 8051 has an on-chip oscillator but require an external clock to run it. It has a built-in 8051 has a built-in oscillator, but to activate the oscillator we need to give an external clock pulse. So an external quartz crystal oscillator is connected to crystal 1 and crystal 2. So this circuit will provide the clock required for the on-chip oscillator. It also requires two capacitors of 30 picofarad. You can see from the circuit there are two capacitors of 30 picofarad connected to crystal 1 and crystal 2. One side of each capacitor is connected to ground. The crystal frequency determines the processing speed of the microcontroller. The processing speed of the microcontroller is determined by the clock frequency provided by the external clock circuit. Reset pin, it is pin number 9. It is an active high input. In normal state it is low. When we apply a high input, it will reset the microcontroller. When applying a high pulse, the microcontroller will reset and terminate all its activities. This is often referred to as power on reset. When we turn on the microcontroller, it will reset all the registers, all the values to initial value. When we turn on the microcontroller, activating the power on reset will cause all the values of the registers to be lost. All the values of registers will go to the initial value. Most of the registers will go to 0 when we reset the microcontroller. The values of address bus and data bus will be set to 0. It will set the program counter to 0. For the reset input to be effective, it must have a duration of 2 machine cycles. That is, we need to apply a high input to the reset pin for 2 machine cycles to reset the microcontroller. A high pulse must be high for 2 machine cycles before it is allowed to go low. We need to maintain the high pulse for 2 machine cycles. Now we can see the power on circuitry for reset. In the first circuit you can see that a high pulse is applied to the reset when we initialize the microcontroller. When we give supply to the microcontroller, so it will go to its initial values. In the second figure you can see a momentary switch. It can be pressed when we want to reset the microcontroller, so the VCC will go to the reset button, reset pin, and it will reset the microcontroller. From the table you can see the values of different registers on reset. The program counter PC is 0, data pointer is 0, accumulator value is 0, program status word is 0, stack pointer is 07, that is its initial value. Then register B is 0, and all the ports, port 0 to port 3 is FF. That is, all the pins are set to 1 when the microcontroller is reset. Now EA pin, it is external access. It is pin number 31. The EA pin indicates whether the microcontroller is using internal ROM or external ROM. We connect the EA pin to VCC when the microcontroller is using internal ROM, and when the microcontroller is accessing the external ROM, we are connecting EA to the ground. We connect EA pin to VCC to indicate that the program code is stored in the on-chip ROM. That is, the microcontroller is accessing on-chip ROM for the program code. To indicate that the program code is stored in the external ROM, EA pin is connected to ground. It is an input pin, and it must be connected to either VCC or ground. If the microcontroller is using on-chip ROM, that is its built-in memory, then we need to connect the EA pin to VCC. And if the microcontroller is using external ROM, then we need to connect the EA pin to ground. In the case of 8051, it is on-chip ROM. It is built-in memory. So we need to connect the external access to VCC. In the case of microcontrollers like 8031 or 8032, it does not have built-in memory. So they need to access the external ROM to get the program code. So we need to in that case we need to connect the EA pin to ground, and we cannot it cannot be left unconnected. Then program status enable. Program store enable. It is pin number 9. It is an output pin. It is used to access the external ROM containing the program code. The PSEN is connected to the output enable pin of external ROM. When the EA is connected to ground, that means when the microcontroller is accessing the external ROM, the 8051 fetches the opcode from the external ROM using PSEN. That is, the output enable of the external ROM is connected to the program status enable. So when external access is connected to ground, the 8051 can get the opcode from the external ROM using PSEN. When EA is connected to VCC, that is, when the microcontroller is using on-chip ROM, these chips do not activate PSEN pin. The PSEN pin will be high. It is an active low signal. So when the external access is connected to VCC, the microcontroller will not activate PSEN. It indicates that the on-chip ROM contains the program code. Address/enable. It is pin number 30. It stands for address/enable. It is an active high output pin. The ALE indicates whether the port 0 has address or data. When the port 0 has address, the ALE is set to high, and when port 0 has data, the ALE is 0. When ALE is high, port 0 is used for address path. When ALE is low, port 0 is used for data path. When ALE is 0, the port 0 is used as data bus, sending data out or bringing data in. When 8051 wants to use P0 as an address bus, it puts the address A0 to A7 on port 0 pins and activates ALE equal to 1. This indicates that the port 0 has address. Ports 0, 1, 2, 3. We already know that the microcontroller has 4 input-output ports, and each port has 8 pins. So there will be 32 pins for input-output. 32 input-output pins for 8051. All these ports on reset are configured as input ports. When the microcontroller is reset, all the ports will be set as input ports, and we need to program the ports to make it either input or output. And on reset, the P0 to P3 have value FF on them. That is, all the pins of the 8051 will have a 1 on them. Port 0. Port 0 is pin number 32 to 39. It is designated as AD0 and AD7. That means it can carry both address and data. It is used for both address and data when connected to external memory. The 8051 multiplexes the address and data through port 0. So 8051 uses port 0 for both address and data. It is done so to save the pins, and then we can reduce the size of the microcontroller. The ALE indicates if port 0 has address or data. It is connected to externally to external pull-up resistors 10 kilo ohm. Each pin of port 0 is connected to external pull-up resistors. This is due to the fact that port 0 is an open drain. This means that the port 0 can be used to connect to other logic devices of different logic levels. The 8051 can be interfaced with other logic devices of different logic levels using the port 0 pins. P1 and P2. These are port 1 and port 2. These are input-output ports. When no external memory is present, P1 and P2 are used as simple input-output ports. But when external memory is present, The port 2 is used along with port 0 to provide 16-bit address for the external memory. So in order to access the external memory, the 8051 microcontroller has 16-bit address line. So it uses 8 lines from port 0 and 8 lines from port 2. The lower order address, that is A0 to A7, is carried by port 0, and port 2 carries the higher order address, that is A8 to A15. P1 and P2 does not need pull-up resistors. They already have built-in pull-up resistors. Now port 3 occupies 8 pins, pin number 10 to pin number 17. It can be used as input or output. It does not require pull-up resistors. It has internal pull-up resistors. Then port 3 is configured as input or output on reset. Port 3 is configured as input port on reset. That is, when the microcontroller is reset, it is automatically configured as input port. It has very important functions. Port 3 is very important because it has very important functions like transmitter, receive, interrupt, timer, and the control signals read and write. In the table you can see the first pin P3.0 is the transmitter pin, receiver pin. P3.1 is the transmitter pin. This P3.0 and P3.1 are used to establish serial communication. Then P3.2 and P3.3 are interrupts. P3.4 and P3.5 are timers, and P3.6 and P3.7 are read and write signals. So the port 3 is very important. It has very important functions in a microcontroller. Input-output programming. Input-output programming means configuring the ports of the microcontroller as either input or output. We know that on reset all the ports are configured as input ports. That is, on reset a 1 is returned to all the pins of the port, so it acts as an input port. To use any of the ports as an either input or output, it must be programmed. When first 0 is returned to the port, it becomes an output. To reconfigure it as an input, a 1 must be sent to the port. Programming port 0 as an input port. To make port 0 as an input port, we need to write a 1 to all the pins. By writing 1 to all the bits, we can make the port 0 as an input port. In the following code, port 0 is configured first as an input port by writing 1 to it, and then the data is received from the port and is sent to port 1. Now we can see the code. Get a byte from port 0 and send it to port 1. So first move A, FFH. FF is 111-111. So to the accumulator we are moving the value FFH. Move P0A. Now the value on accumulator is moved to P0. Now P0 is configured as an input port. Move A, P0. Now P0 is an input port, so it is getting data from external memory. So move A, P0. The data in P0 is moved to accumulator A. Move P1, A. The accumulator has data now. That is moved to port 1. SJump back means we are making a loop here, so the process is repeating. Now another program. The following code is continuously sent out to port 0, alternating the values of 55H and AAH. If you see the binary code of 55H, it is 0101 0101, and AAH is 1010 1010. So if you check, you can find that the binary codes of 55H and AAH are complementing 55H turns into AAH. If you check the binary codes, you can find that. By sending 55H and AAH continuously, we toggle the values of zeros and ones. We are toggling the values of zeros and ones on the port pins of P0. So the values of P0, the values on P0 will be continuously changing to 0 and 1, alternately changing to 0 and 1 using this program. Toggle all the bits of P0. Move A, 55H. We are entering the binary code of 55H to accumulator. Move P0, A. Now we are moving the value of accumulator to port 0. A call delay. We are calling for some delay. Then move A, AAH. Now we are moving the value complementary value AAH to accumulator. Move P0, A. The value of accumulator is now moved to port 0. A call delay. Wait some delay. Then S jump back. This loop is repeating. Programming port 1 as an input port. That means we are writing a 1 to all pins of the port 1. If port 1 has been configured as an output port, it is made input by writing a 1 to all the bits. In the following code, port 1 is configured first as an input by writing 1 to it. Then data is received from that port and is saved in R7, R6 and R5 registers. Move A, 0FFH. We are moving to accumulator 0FFH, that is all ones, 8 ones. Move F1, A. P1, A. That means we are moving the we are writing 1 to all the bits of port 1. Move A, P1. After writing 1 to P1, it is an input port, so it is getting data from the external memory. So move A, P1. Now we are moving the data in pin 1, port 1 to accumulator A. Move R7, A. The data in accumulator is now moved to register 7. A call delay. After some delay, move A, port 1. Now port 1 has new data. It is moved to accumulator. Move R6, A. This new data is moved to register R6. A call delay. Wait for some time. Move A, P1. Now port 1 has a new data. Move R5, A. The new data is moved to register 5. Programming port 1. Upon reset, port 1 is configured as an input port. We have seen that before. Following code is continuously sent to port 1, alternating the values of 55H and AAH. We know that 55H and AAH are complements of each other. By sending 55H and AAH, we toggle the values of zeros and ones. To toggle all the bits of P1 continuously, move A, 55H. 55H is returned to accumulator. Move P1, A. 55 is moved to port 1. Now port 1 has 01, 01, 01, 01. A call delay. CPL means complement or invert. Now we are inverting A. So now A has AAH, that is 10101010. Jump back. It is we are making it as a loop, and the process repeats.